So, going back to our example, that is why when it says that the position is equal, it was equal up to that move, the earlier one, before we started getting to the footnotes. It was equal up to there. We will play that back one more time. You guys can take a look at it. We'll go right back from the start. And I wish you guys a lot of luck. I also teach online using PayPal and Skype. And that's the way a lot of the chess teachers teach it. Doesn't matter if they're grandmaster, if they're class A player, whatever the level that they're at. The game is not about, well, what level are you at? I gotta see, like, what's your official FIDE number? And then therefore, if you've got this FIDE number and I hire you and you're my coach, well, then I can say, oh, okay, go get your FIDE certificate for Grandmaster. And then I can say, well, I'm taking lessons from a Grandmaster, so that just proves they know more. Do you know how many international masters, IMs, versus Grandmasters, GM, have won? You know how many times an IM has beat a GM? Well, here's the basic question. When you have to make your norms, you have to beat other GMs. So yes, IMs can beat GMs. And there are people that are IMs that don't get the Grandmaster norm. Come here, sweetheart. Come here, sweetie pie. Come here, your daddy loves you. Yes, I know. You know, I want to go home, daddy. Hold on. I bet you do. Hold on. Now, here's the way it works. It doesn't matter so much about the rating when you're looking for a coach or a teacher. Get somebody like myself, you know. Do I have the FIDE Grandmaster certificate? Nope, not at all. So how did I get to anything remotely Grandmaster status or 2600 playing strength? 600 exams, my friends. 600. 600 like this here, like these. 600 tests where you go over and you, not a solitaire chess, there's other tests too, but where you go over games, you find the winning moves, you take your score, you average all those scores together, and that's what gives you your amount. Got to get my reading glasses now. Okay, and I'm back, and we actually have good battery now. We can wrap this up. All right, now we're gonna play C4, E5. Sandy, quit. Quit. You're gonna drive me crazy. Okay, goes to D6, remember? Goes to D6. Now immediately goes out, right? Takes. And then they're gonna bring them back to D2, okay? Now, they'll get this out, the knight out. They'll bring this up. Well, they'll bring it up helping to secure the pawn, but mostly to get the bishop out, okay? So, as soon as they play that, they go here. And then it's kind of a race to see who can get there first. Okay. From here, black works on king safety right away, castles. Okay. And then hits the center, the long diagonal, but hits the center. And partly because knowing this is coming, this D5 is coming, you need to do that now. Okay? But they're going to put this here on this semi-open file. Go over. Now black hits the center. They're going to take, okay, you say, what was the purpose of that? How is that even? Hold on, back up. You lost me there. Why is he giving up a bishop for this knight? Okay, here's the reason why. Look here, 1, 2 defenders, right? You got a knight as a defender, a knight as an attacker. Queen defender, queen attacker. Then you got another one, bishop, and you've got nothing. There's nothing there. So, if he takes the knight, now, give up the knight to remove the bishop, you could even classify that under tactics similar to removing the defender. Okay? Because now, there you go. And that, my friend, is considered dead even from right there. From that spot right there, the position is dead even. Well, I disagree. I don't say that it's dead even, I just say there's equal chances. And one key being, if you look at these queenside pawns right here, and then you look at there's only 2. Black has a queenside majority. White has a kingside majority. So a lot of stuff is going to be happening over here on the king side for white. So we go back over to our footnote 189. Okay. We will get there, my friend. We will get there. Hold on. I think I forgot one where I'm supposed to castle for white. Nope. Didn't forget one. Nope. White never castled yet. I'll let you see it. See it for yourself. Never castled. See, only black castled. So for those of you that might have missed a move or said, oh, wait a minute, I think he castled already. No, he didn't castle already. Now, it is knight takes d5. Bishop takes bishop. Okay. Rook goes over, gets off the dark squares because you got this bishop. You need to get off the dark squares, see? Bishop, you gotta get off the dark squares. This does not help your cause. You might as well put the rook on this now open file. You might as well. Well, you've got from here, you've got 2 choices that you can do if you don't want the queen to just take the bishop and then they're going to take your knight. You're just going to trade 1 for 1. You've got to pretty much do that, which is a forced move. Then bishop will retreat. You got opposite colored bishops in game, pretty much drawn. Most opposite colored bishops are drawish in games. So you have light square bishop, dark square. And you say, well, who has the bad bishop? Well, if you count the total, you look over here on the king side, he's got plenty of access, but so does white. Now he's got 1 pawn in the way right here. See, 1 pawn in the way, blocking him in. He can't do anything. And over here, he's got two of them that are on the same color as the bishop. So I would say that white would have more of the bad bishop, with 1, 2, 3 squares being the same, or diagonals. You have 1, 2, 3 diagonals. Whereas if you look over here, this is open, this is all open, this is all open. On the queen side, he's not going to retreat. But if I had to pick it, leave it in the comments below. If I myself, my own personal choice, if I had to say who had a little bit better bishop, I would say black. Black has a little bit more freedom and open lines. And also, I think when we follow this up in another move or two, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to pull back. It's going to go to here. And then it's going to go here, E3, C6. It's going to go knight F4. No, wait a minute. No, 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 no. No, no, that's not it. He doesn't do that. It's just that. E3, C6. Now, from right there, they're saying that's a level position. I would kind of disagree. I don't see that as being a level position. Maybe there are those of you that are a little better at the middle game, or you might be a little better at the end game than I am. You might see something there. Right off the top of my head, I can see that white has not castled. It's going to cost him a move to castle. So black should be a tempo up. Also, with the queen and rook, as soon as this goes wherever to do whatever, you know, if this goes here, you say, oh, well, he could just keep attacking it. That's fine. You want to do that? That's fine. But where's he going to go? You know, is he going to go back? Is he going to go here? He can't go there. So is he going to go here and be threatened by those pawns, at least eventually? Is he going to retreat here? Is he going to come back to here and risk the doubled pawns? Probably not. But wherever he goes, it doesn't matter. And he can sit right there and he can decide to play what we did earlier, take. Oh, well, nope. Nope. Nope, wait a minute. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Sorry. Sorry, Charlie. Can't do that. You can't do that, dude. Actually, white can't do that because he puts his king in check. But having this rook on this area here, white has to castle now, most likely. I don't know without actually looking at the game. But he needs to castle now so he can do something on that. Okay? And then from the black side, he has a bad rook because it's sitting in the corner. It's not anywhere on anything where he can get anything going. But he has a good bishop. He's got this long diagonal, but I don't think that the play in the C6 is so much to threaten the knight as it is the classic saying, bishop bites on granite. Bishop bites on granite. By playing this, yes, it attacks the knight, but if you think long-term strategy and you think positional play, what it's doing more than trying to threaten the knight is it's cutting down this long diagonal. See where the rook is? Can you see it better now? Long diagonal. He can't move the pawns. He can't get anything going because the rook is open to attack. But if he comes back and does this instead, you know, then no matter where he goes to retreat, okay, this bishop can never go to here. His knight cannot go back there. And the bishop basically can't go here because of that. He could try to go now, of course, with the knight like this. He could try to go here or put the knight here. But there's a lot of what ifs going on there, my friend. A lot of what if he goes here? What if he goes there? And I'm just saying, just thinking off the top of my head, that this move is not so much to try to trade pieces. Well, because obviously he can't do anything. Because if he castles, check this out. He castles, then no matter where you go with this knight, okay, no matter where you go, whether you go straight over here, whether you go back, whatever, let's say you just go straight back, all right, and that may not be the best move. I'm kind of sleep deprived right now, so don't try to get me to do analysis in my head just on the fly. I'm not going to do perfect analysis on the fly. I'm going to tell you that right now. So what'll happen is when he castles, it gives black the tempo to retreat. Now white has to retreat. And what do you think happens if he wants to remove the queens? Trade, trade. Guess what's going to happen here, my friend? Take. If you get into simplification and you get into a trading game and you say, oh, but he has the advantage now. What's that about that advantage thing you were talking about? He can't post his rook here. Well, he could simply take, but you know what the winning move is in this situation? The reason I think black would be winning? Can anybody say on freebie? Freebie, hello, freebie. Because if you take and you say check, okay, you say check, that's called a spite check. They're checking you out of spite. Now you have this bishop still biting on granite, cannot attack that pawn. You have bishop opposite color, but you have bishop and knight against bishop. And the pawns are all even. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns, right? 3 over here, 3 over here. Pawns are even. Black should win it. And I would even go so far as to say in this position, it is what is called a forced win. I spot that right off, just right away like this. Like, bam, instantly. Forced win, that is an easy win. Having that extra piece, the knight, the bishop and the knight together should be able to walk these pawns down here and create a pass pawn. And if they have to sacrifice one of the pieces to get rid of this last piece, then I don't think that, and any other grandmasters out there watching the video, chime in, I don't think that the one extra pawn on the king side, if the kings maintain opposition, if black can maintain the opposition, I don't think that the one extra pawn is going to be a match for the knight and a pass pawn over here on the queen side. If black uses their pawn majority, 3 versus 2, and they're able to trade out something, preferably the knight stopping the bishop, and then you have a bishop, you should be able to use that bishop to create a pass pawn either on the knight file, I would say knight file, or the bishop file. I don't see it happening over here in the rook file and thinking, oh, the king is so far away. By the time that you get down to that point in the game, that particular position where it's just kings like it is now, but it's just the kings maintaining opposition on the queen side, and you're using your 3 versus 2 majority so that you can try to walk one of your pawns through by force, which we know, all of us that have studied pawn endings know that 3 versus 2, you can create a pass pawn if you do it right. And it all depends how far advanced are these pawns. If they're just like they are now, you might be able to keep the knight on the board and keep the bishop tied up to the king side. Because like here, they're going to try for what's called a minority attack and try to put the brakes on all black's activity. But I'm laying odds. I mean, here's the position. There you go. These are all pawns. If you can't make it out in the video, those are pawns. Right here, those are pawns. King, knight, bishop. Those are pawns you could see, obviously. That's a bishop right there. That's king, pawns. Set up that position on your computer and see if your computer says I'm right or wrong. My gut level instinct, my experience, and my intuition tells me that black has a forced win. And it has something to do with the extra piece and the extra pawn, that material advantage on the queen side, and these kings being over here. They're in opposition now, but these kings, well, they're almost in opposition. They need to be 1 square closer. Somebody needs to be 1 square closer. If they were like this, they would have the long distant opposition. You have opposition, which is like, let's go like this, for lack of a better way to explain it to you. This is opposition, the way I learned it from Bruce Pandolfini's Endgame book and his dictionary for chess. This is opposition, okay? Ooh, hate bugs. That's opposition, okay? When you get 3 squares in between, that's distant opposition. So 1 square, opposition, okay? 3 squares, distant opposition. 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is called long distant opposition. So I hope that some of you learned something, hopefully. But for all intents and purposes, at least theoretically, they should have the opposition now. Because the kings, being these odd number of squares, would have the long distant opposition. And you can further divide it down to opposition on a file, a diagonal, a rank, but you don't have to be nitpicky. You don't have to be nitpicky. Oh, let me see, it's the long distant file opposition. You don't have to be that much nitpicky. Nope. But I hope that you learned something tonight in our example, and I will wrap this up on A21. And we got our little bookmark. Now, let me get a seat here. What I was saying earlier, when you look at the position in the book and it says equal, you might just look at the book and say, oh, the assessment, it's even. Well, like I said earlier, look at all the factors: tactical, strategic, positional. And I would even go so far as to look at endgame factors, various endgame factors. But immediately look at tactically, and then look at strategically, and then look at positionally in that order. I would first look at strategic or strategy factors. That, if you want to make it simple, write the word strategy and write all the things that have to do with strategy, and then you write positional play and all the things underneath it that have to do with positional play or positional factors. And that is a really good way to evaluate a position, what's called a multifaceted approach. Don't just look at it from a standpoint of tactics. Look at it from tactics, strategy, positional play, in-game play. And when you have those four, the four keys, the four corners, like on a chessboard, four corners, okay, you should be able to do it no problem. You should be able to look at it and say, I think it's drawn, that's why it has an equal sign. Or I think it's level, it's equal chances. It's either one or the other. It's either equal sign because there's equal chances for both people, or it's an equal sign because it's equal, it's level. It's a dead drawn position. Nobody's going to make any headway. And in this case, where I showed that white made a few mistakes, being, gung-ho there to trade pieces, he left one of his pieces hanging, like the one where we showed the example. Remember, the knight was up here and there was the queen takes queen, rook takes queen, he puts it over, rook takes back. What he might have been counting on in that situation where you would have the knight sitting here is that knight protects rook, knight protects rook. Remember when there was a rook here? Each one protects the other. But it is a tactical oversight, and it is a simple tactic called removing the defender. That if he, actually you'd have both, removing the defender and en prise. But mostly en prise. Once he takes down here, okay, the example we used earlier, once he takes down here and you take back, I don't remember exactly how that one played out, but somewhere in there, I remember, unless I missed a move, I remember this knight hanging, the knight just sitting there and saying, oh, easy shot, bam, easy win there on that one. Because I don't think that he could really play that out, being a piece down. If he dropped a piece, if that's what he was counting on, it's not that exact square, but you get the idea. It was like this. It was similar to this. It was like this. You guys would remember this. Just like this here. And he took, okay. And then it was like this, takes, he becomes too aggressive at that point. When he takes, even if there was another one down there and he had the last piece and somehow he took, okay, I think, no, I don't think it was that way. I think it was, there was a piece here he took and this piece covered it. The king would have been here, but I don't know. I'm so sleep deprived. I'm probably missing something. I'm just thinking out loud. You'll have to pause the video, rewind it, back up the video and look at it, and then you'll be able to spot it. But I remember in there being, this was sitting right there. There was that tactical oversight where I think it was, he took something here and this came over somehow in there. I remember this knight being able to come over and have that protected. But I think before that, there might have been something like this, where each one was protecting each other. And I think that's where it was. Yeah, I think it was like this, and he was going to challenge for the file, and then I saw the tactical shot right there that he would lose. Because the more I think about it, I think that was it. I think it was the tactical shot that was the losing. I'm so thirsty and sleep deprived. But I think that was the tactical shot. I don't think it was here. I think it was from here. I don't think there was anything on E, the rook on E. Black had a rook on E, but then went over. I think that was the tactical shot right there, is that the minute he challenged for here, thinking, oh, let's see, he's got it guarded, I'll go here, and then if he takes my rook, I've got it covered. But if I take his, he has to take me back, or I'm up a piece, and then I can move and I can escape, and I've got a knight and a bishop, knight and a bishop. Tactical flaw, my friend. Tactical flaw, or tactically flawed. Because the reason being that the minute he does that, it is the losing move of the game. Chime in and tell me if you see something different, if you don't think that's the losing move of the game. I think it is the losing move of the game because the tactical shot on the knight. You have that tactical shot on the knight, which is pretty well done, because if he does anything at all, you know, he could, in theory, he could go to here. Now, if you were to take the rook, he could take you back and you wouldn't really gain a piece. But, my friend, let me show you why that indeedy is tactically flawed. That's why that's tactically flawed. Because no matter how you play that out, as soon, and I mean as soon, as this happens, that shot comes, free shot, picks up the knight. Now with the rooks off the board, like we said, if you go to here, you take, go back, you've got opposite bishops, but you still got that one knight ahead, you're still a piece ahead. If, on the other hand, if you play attack like a maniac, let's attack like a maniac, and says check, knowing full well he's going to just pick it off with the knight, you're still going to lose, because they've got a knight and a bishop and you've just got a bishop. So I would say conclusive proof, or conclusively, this is without a doubt absolutely the losing move of the game. That is the losing move of the game. If black's got that ownership of that file, that open file, not semi-open, that completely open file, he owns and controls that open file for now, until that knight moves. As long as that knight is in the path of that bishop, that right there is a losing move. Can anybody see that? So YouTube, you have got a chance to see how we teach chess at PC Chess Club. And this was just thinking out loud over the end game. It's not sitting down with a notepad. It's not sitting down with table bases. It's not sitting down with databases. It's not running statistical analysis or applied statistical analysis, or any one of probably a dozen different strategies, ideas, principles that you can use for in-game play. It's just me doing, as I often do, a raw video like that, like that, like that, like that, just thinking out loud, just right off the top of my head. Bam. Now, if you were to go through and do the same thing for these lines in the ECO, you might do like I did in the middle game or the end game section and play less than optimal moves. I'm not saying that I'm going to play the middle game or the end game perfectly. I'm probably far from it. And I think that even Jacob Agard, friend of ours on Facebook, hello, shout out to you, Jacob. I think that Jacob would actually look at that position and probably agree that that is the losing move. You wouldn't even have to be a grandmaster, but early on, where we ended on footnote 189, we ended with the C6E3, the one that we had early on where they were like this, where we still had, when we still had the rooks and queens on the board, all the other pieces. I think that Jacob would probably do the initial assessment on that. You'll have to, if you're watching the video, Jacob, you'll have to back it up to, what was the move? Was it 16? Let me pull that up for you, Jacob. And thanks for the new book that you did. Your book on in-game play. It's good reading. I think it's a wonderful book. So a shout out for Jacob's book on in-game play. Yeah, 16. Jacob, you can pull up the game, or anybody can pull up the game. It is U, first name letter U, last name Z-A-K versus Zilberman, Z-I-L-B-E-R-M-A-N, Tel Aviv. That is T-E-L, for those of you that do not know the Israeli spelling. Second word, A-V-I-V. Game was played 1991. And it ended with move 16. This is ECO Volume A, 4th edition, Jacob. And it ends with E3, C6 being equal. I kind of disagreed with the ECO assessment. I thought that the game was not dead drawn, but I thought it was more like equal chances. I thought that, woo, damn. I thought that's a big bug, man. Freaking giant bug. God. What I thought was, when I looked at the position on move 16 for black, what I saw, and I may be missing something, so, you know, I get some humble pie and may be humbled by Jacob's assessment or any other Grandmaster's assessment. What I saw was, I saw black having a slight advantage during the early stages of the middle game. So when I read that equal assessment, what I got out of it was that black had a little bit better chances early on in the middle game because of how he had his pawn structure and his pieces. And then I thought white might have equal chances to try to draw. And how is that? If he could try to use the theme, the minority attack, if he could try to slow down the activity on the queen side, try to keep the pieces on the board, not trade pieces, but keep the pieces on the board, and use his pawn majority on the king side to try to tie down black's king over here, I saw them going into an endgame, Jacob, and I saw it as being a kind of drawish endgame. Chances for both sides. Well, it should be this way. Both chances on both sides of the board, but chances for both sides if white could make it to the endgame. But early on from move 16, you're just getting out of the opening and you're just going into the middle game, was my perception. You're in the middle game, yes, but you're still in the early stages of the middle game. And that was my initial assessment. So if anybody can prove it to me with Houdini or Komodo, one of the top engines, then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like a lot of people, whether IM or GM or even below that, we often do not make a perfect move like that over the board. Just right off the top of your head, not even Magnus Carlsen. And a lot of people can play armchair quarterback. You know, you can sit there and you can talk about what could have been or should have been or might have been, or, you know, how the computer would play it, how the engines would play it, and multiple engines would all come up with these moves. Maybe you name a move and say, oh, I've looked at 3 or 4 top engines and they all say trade, 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 trade pieces. And that could be any piece on the board. And they say white should trade. And then you'll meet grandmasters that'll say, but I think the engines do not consider all the positional factors. Yes, tactically, maybe white should trade. I'm just giving you a hypothetical, okay, just for the sake of argument. Set up any position where either side can trade, and if you get an engine that says, okay, white should trade, there's going to be grandmasters that are going to say, that engine, I don't give a damn what that engine says. It is missing the positional factors. I am not going to trade them. I'm going to let them come to me. I'm going to let them trade me. Not, I'm going to trade them down. I'm going to let them trade me down. Let them trade with me, not me go out there and start trading to trade and trade. I don't want to get out there and just go trade, trade, trade. So in that instance, there might be situations where, like I said in my assessment, I thought white had the chances by keeping the pieces on the board, not by trading them off. But I did think, as we can point out here, once this guy moves, this bishop does not have a lot of play on the queen side. And there's a number of different ways, no matter where this guy goes this knight, there's a number of different ways that you can guard that pawn so that this pawn can get moving and this bishop will never be able to pick off that pawn. Yeah, never. Not in a million years. But that is something I would say read Dvoretsky's book, Mark's book on defense, or read Jacob's book. Jacob did a good book on that, on defense. He's got a good one. And there is another one. I can't think of who the author is. You guys could chime in on the comments below. It is a classic book on defense in chess. I cannot remember the name or the title, but it is a classic book that most IMs and GMs grew up on or grew up reading, and it's a classic book on defense for how to learn everything about defense. I think Andy did one, Soltis, I think he did one on defense, if my memory serves me right. It's a pretty good book on defense. I know one of the best on strategy, if you can find it, is a 3-volume set by Pachman, or Pachman, Pachman like a video game. Ludek Pachman, P-A-C-H-M-A-N. We've got the 3-volume set on strategy, and they're pretty thick. They're several hundred pages each. Yeah, it's over 900 pages when the set that I got. I think it's over 900. I may stand corrected, but I think it's over 900 pages because I'm thinking that each one is around 300 pages and there's 3 volumes. But I'm done. We're going to wrap this up, take these doggies home. Look at them. Here's Shadow Baby. Oh, we can't see you, Shadow. We got to get where we can see you. They got lights out here, but it's so dark. It's so dark, we can't hardly see, can we? No. So, you guys, that's a wrap on this video, and we only got a little bit done. You can see that we go a little bit more in depth on explanations and try to be very thorough at PC Chess Club. It's not about memorization here. It's more about understanding and pattern recognition, being able to apply what you learn over the board. That's going to help you more than memorizing books. Understanding what you read and being able to adapt it and apply it to real world over the board games, that's going to help you the most to be a stronger player and to win games. So that's it. I'm out. Thanks for watching, and we will try to make another better video tomorrow when we have sunlight on Memorial Day. So that's it. That's a wrap for today. Thanks for watching.